Okay, so there is a big silent. I believe all good now, so we can proceed with server architecture. Okay. So now going back to the discussion, take one server. So now what are the different storage we have in this server? Yesterday we discussed, right? We have different storages for different purpose. What are
Two,
they?
two
Yeah.
SSDs. Then
Okay.
we have the hard disk where the data will be stored. And then
Okay.
we have another SSD, which is like a memory chip on which
M2.
M2. Is that M2 like the boss card?
SATCOM. Yeah.
Yes,
SATA
right.
com.
Yeah. So these three.
Okay. Okay, so now this is my M.2. This is SSD, and this can be, hard disk, SSD. And then this is, what is this? Is this all flash or hybrid? I mean, if I have hard disk. So for now, I'll take this SSD away. So now what is this? When I mix two different
Hybrid.
storage, it's a hybrid server. Okay. And where do you have your ESXi, AHV, or Microsoft Hyper-V gets installed? So we have three different storage where the hypervisor is getting installed.
M.2.
On
M.2.
M2 will be
Yes,
the
exactly.
hypervisor.
So this is where your hypervisor installed. After this, we will be going to see, maybe not today. We have a module 3 where we are going to see the foundation. So we are in the introduction, and then we are in the setting up the requirement for starting the Nutanix cluster. So it will be step by step. First, we understand the technology, then we understand the hardware requirement. We choose the hardware, and then we proceed for setting up the cluster. So after this cluster will be ready, and then we start focusing on the cluster related functionality after that. Okay. We are still in the prerequisite stage. So now going back here, your hypervisor is getting installed here. Hence, you need to make sure that you have the M.2, installed, the physical hardware installed on your server. So generally, when you buy hardware, the hardware vendor will make sure that they have everything. They only send the HCI nodes. Okay, and then we have two SSD. What is going to get installed here?
CVM.
VM.
Control
Okay.
VMs. Control VMs. Yeah.
Yeah, CVM. Do you think this entire these two SSD is reserved for CVM?
Uh,
Okay. Yes, no. No idea.
Yes.
Probably there are
Only
dependent VMs or those are required that will be deployed over here. It's
Okay.
isolated from the rest.
Okay, I'll come back to this. But not only for CVM, this two SSD is not for CVM. We do have not only for CVM, we do have other purposes as well. And this area is only for guest VMs. Okay. So it doesn't mean that your guest VM always use it here. Sometimes your guest VM also use this storage. We will see what is the use case of that. Okay. So I believe the hardware requirement you are quite clear now. So now next we are getting into the the SSD part. These two SSD we are going to focus on that. Okay. So now I go with the same example. I take this one single server now. Okay. This is going to be my single server. And I do have two SSDs. And then I do have a couple of hard disks here. Okay. And then M.2. There are some servers. I believe now latest, most of the server comes with a dual M.2. And then you have a RAID controller here. Okay. So this connected to the RAID controller. Okay. I hope you understand the difference. Why do we have two M.2, right?
Yep.
Everyone, all good, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, it is for redundancy.
Yes. So now we have, we have a RAID 0 here or RAID 1. What do you have? What is RAID 0?
We need RAID 1. RAID 0 will be kind of striping.
Yeah, exactly. So we need a mirroring. So we don't need a striping. So we go with the RAID 1. And here, you have a RAID 1. And RAID 1, whatever the data you store in the first disk, that gets mirrored in the second disk. Correct?
Right.
So in this case, if this disk goes down, you have this disk up and running. Correct? In that way, the hypervisor level, you have a fault tolerance. Or you can say that highly available system. Okay. Earlier I said, right, it was a single disk, but nowadays, we are getting a hardware with the two M.2, and at the back end we have a RAID, and that gets, mirrored. But if there is anything gets corrupted on this, see, the RAID, RAID, it works in a way that if whatever data you're storing here, that make sure that it maintains the same, copy here. So maybe if the primary copy here, if it gets corrupted, and then, there is a possibility that the same corrupted data also gets replicated here. Correct? There is a possibility, right? So in the sense, data level protection is not much possible here, but it protects you from the disk level hardware level failure, right? This is the main objective of this is to protect you from the hardware level. But data level is still, question. But if this is faulty, then nothing to worry. We have the second, the redundant one is there that still works. So your hypervisor has no downtime. It keeps running. But if there is any corruption on this, data, and it also replicated or mirrored to here, obviously both of the disk will have the corrupted data. In that case, you may need to go for fixing this. Okay, so we can discuss this later, how to fix this, because that's troubleshooting side that we will do it at last stage of the session. At this moment, we don't need to get into that. So I believe this is quite clear now. What is the purpose of this? How the fault tolerance is maintained, and for how system make sure that this is highly available. Okay, I believe this is good now. So next we are getting into the CVM storage. Okay. So can you go on mute, please? Okay. So now two SSDs. Okay. And between this, do we have a RAID?
RAID 1.
Do we have RAID or no?
RAID, yes.
Does Nutanix support RAID?
Not at the hardware level.
Who is this? Who said this answer?
Yeah, Rafiq. So
Rafiq.
as far
Okay.
as I know, vSAN does not support RAID. I'm just assuming the same here.
Okay. So other generic question: does Nutanix support RAID or no?
Yes, it supports.
No idea.
Okay. So no
vSAN
idea.
supports it. Is RAID 5, 6. It is.
I don't think
Okay.
Nutanix has RAID controllers, right? I mean, that's
No,
what I'm assuming.
hardware has RAID controller, right? If you look into the hardware, you will be having RAID controllers. Okay. But answer is no. Okay. But we are still going to talk about RAID. But I know after this discussion, you will understand why answer is no. Okay. So now going back here, this same RAID, we have it. RAID 1. So now RAID 1 is applicable on this M.2 and then this first two SSD as well. Okay. So now we have a RAID 1, and this RAID 1, you know that the same way it works, like mirroring, right? All the data from one SSD will be replicated here. But before this, we need to understand what are the data are going to get stored in this SSD. Okay, because M.2 is simple. We have a hypervisor that gets installed. But what is going to store here, right? I said CVM is there, but is that CVM is only person going to store the data or something else? That's a question, right? So now we have lots of data getting stored here. But before that, when you set up this, there will be a couple of partitions gets created here. Okay, so there will be 3 partitions gets created here. Okay, and that before the partition, RAID is getting created. I mean, the RAID will be configured here, but that's going to be software RAID. That's going to be software RAID. CVM is, what is the nature of OS? Any idea? CVM? Windows, Linux, or which platform?
It's
It is
Linux.
Linux. It should be Linux.
And if it is Linux, what is the way,
Maybe
AOS.
RHEL?
something.
CentOS
CentOS or
CentOS, yes.
RHEL probably.
or
CentOS,
HL?
CentOS.
Okay. CentOS or HL, anything else?
My vote goes to CentOS.
CentOS, okay. It was CentOS, RHL never, because this is a licensed product. CentOS is open source, but now it was.
Okay.
It's not. Okay. In the past, it was CentOS, but it's not CentOS now. Reason, Red Hat is only releasing the CentOS open source, right? And then they stopped that. They are now no Red Hat CentOS release. The open source release is totally stopped. Hence, though companies who are using CentOS now everyone have to migrate to a different OS. Now, what is the OS currently? Any idea? Rocky Linux. Okay, there is a Linux distribution called Rocky Linux. This is used to create or build a CVM.
Okay. Is this version based? From which version they stopped and from which
I think
version is it?
6.0. So I guess 6.0.
From 6.0 it is Rocky Linux.
Yeah, right. Okay. And earlier it was CentOS, but we have never seen that migration from CentOS to Rocky Linux, right? Because every customer have a lot of customers using this from 5.0, 5.5, right? And then 6.0, 6.5. We haven't seen any difference. Like they have Nutanix did not ask us to change anything on the CVM. So when they released 6.0, 6.1 build, and the build has these changes, automatically it is rolled back. I mean, it is changed from CentOS to Rocky Linux.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It was part of the update only.
Yeah, part of the update that these changes happen. And many customers, they don't aware of that, aware of these changes. And nothing changed from the configuration side. So don't think that there's a change from CentOS to Rocky Linux. Is there change on the command? Is there any change on the configuration? Nothing changed. You can still use the same command what you were using from 5.0 or 5.5, or the earlier version of that. The command still valid. No changes on the architectural level. Only the distribution is changed now from CentOS to Rocky Linux. Okay, clear? All good? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So next we are going back to the RAID configuration. I was talking about software RAID. So now CentOS or Rocky Linux, they have a software RAID called MDADM. Okay. This is the CLI. If you run this CLI based command, if you run this command on any Linux, you get to know that what is the RAID configuration you have it. Okay. Using this, you can create a RAID configuration. So since this is a software RAID, what we do. If you go back here, we create a couple of partitions here. Okay, I said, right, couple of partitions like C drive, D drive, E drive, and Windows we have, right? Likewise, we create 3 partitions here. Okay. So now, if this disk is, let's take this is SDA. What is this disk then? If first disk is SDA, then second disk will be
SDB.
SDB. That's how in the Linux node the disk will be named. The third disk will be STC, right? So now SDA. Okay, if you go back to the, it maintains the, the rate. So this is SDA and this is SDB. So SDA 1, SDA 2, SDA 3. Then SDB 1, SDB 2, SDB 3. Okay, 3 partitions. So now SDA 1 and SDB 1 are RAID. SDA 2, SDB 2 is another RAID. And SDA3 and SDB3 is going to be a third RAID. Okay, makes sense? Is
Yes.
it clear?
These are the 3 partitions it creates, is it? Once you do.
Yeah. Yes. No, after this we have something, but we have ST, A4 and all, like, but that's not required for this RAID concept. I'll talk about that, and after some time.
Basically, before the CVM,
Sorry?
these are default, primarily required 3 part.
Yeah, 3 partitions. Okay.
Well, one statement is giving me confusion. Generally, a RAID becomes in between hard disk, and you are saying partition, specifically SDA1, SDB1 is RAID, then SDA2 and B2 is a RAID. So is there something?
So we are using software, right? You are talking about the hardware, right? So the hardware, right, works with 2 different physical disks, right? Okay.
Okay.
But we are talking about the software, right? The software, right, when you create multiple partition, it will be like a virtual disk kind of thing. Okay. So while creating the first thing is the disk will be formatted for SDA and SDAB. These partitions will be created on each of the disk, and then SDA1, SDAB1 using this MDA ADM, it will be created in the RAID concept. Okay, so this we have like the RAID name is MDA 0, MDA 1, MDA2, something like that. Okay, so the RAIDed partition, it is finally going to be a RAID disk. Okay, for the server, for the server, if you do LSBLK, if you try to list all the disk, it will be listed as MDA0, MDA1, MDA2. But if you go further, MDA0 is a RAID, a RAID disk, and if you go further, it is a 2 partition. It has at the back end, it has 2 partition. What are the 2 partition? It is the partition is coming from 2 different disks.
Right.
Okay. All good, everyone? I'll show you this, when we are doing the lab, maybe if time permits, I'll show this, right? But generally, I cover this in the advanced training. Okay, if there is a time and situation, then I'll talk about this.
So
Okay.
we are maintaining hardware level and software level both, right? So okay.
So this is hardware. No, not a hardware level. It's a software level.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you want to export this area, maybe you can install one Linux machine, and then if you type mdadm command, then you get all the commands. Okay, and what you can do now, you can attach 2 disks. Like if you have a Linux VM, maybe running on top of ESXi, attach 2 disks to the VM, and then go do the LSBLK, you get